Hey, welcome back. We
Hello.
are putting Sinner and the Saint intro music aside for a special number by Melissa Bell. Hit it, girl.
I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. Just kidding. Don't you wish that you were alone right
Yes, yes. Sometimes I do now with quarantine. Yes.
now? Right?
So we want you to listen to the podcast, of course. This is just to supplement our videos, but we talk a lot about different kinds of loneliness on the podcast today. There's so many different kinds. I think so often, as we mention, we only think about loneliness with friends, but it's in marriage and in life and in church. And so there are lots of things to discover. But as we're in this weeks of quarantining, as we discussed our topic, we were like, maybe we would like to be a little bit alone now.
Right. That might be nice. Maybe some alone time with my husband without children in the next room.
Yes, some special alone time. Some loneliness with your husband would be good. We should talk more about that when we do a girls' night in happy hour.
Yes, yes, we are scheduling Girls Night In happy hour, date to be announced shortly. And
Yes.
hopefully you guys will join us and we can talk all the nitty gritty of that. The ways we sneak in alone time with our husbands. At Christmas time, my husband and I say, we're gonna go work on the Christmas list. We'll be back.
We talk about Christmas all year long.
Oh,
yeah, we do.
gosh.
Because, you know, Christmas takes planning, and then there's also birthdays and things like that. And so, yeah, we use that. But now that we have teenagers,
Not so much.
it's kind of like the Tooth Fairy, not so sure it works anymore.
Or they're like, all that planning, this is what you came up with?
Right, I got three things. Oh my gosh. So in all honesty and transparency, this is take 2 of this video, which we've never had to do. But I had a hissy fit, and Melissa so delicately tried to rein me in. And then I was like, you know what? You're so sweet, but we should just start completely over. I would like to blame it on my concussion. I have a mild concussion. So that's my disclaimer. If I say anything weird, I have a concussion.
And if I say anything weird, sorry about it, that's who I am. I don't have a concussion.
I just have an excuse right now.
Right. So I think that with the constant bombardment of people in our homes, Zoom calls in our homes, which feels a little intruding sometimes. I mean, yeah, working so close with our spouses, trying to get our kids into school, and feeling like we're probably doing everything about halfway at most. Like we can't commit to anything fully because everything is juggling and juggling at this time within our homes. I really miss my quiet time in the morning.
Yes. It's just that time, you know, we get into these rhythms of life where we have finally figured out where we fit in our exercise, where we fit in our quiet time. You know, the kids are at school, everybody's kind of in a routine. And then this has been so disrupted. I have a dear friend who had been working diligently with 3 young boys at home to figure out how she could spend time with the Lord in prayer and study and scripture and just quiet time with with herself and her thoughts. And she had finally started into a rhythm, and then quarantine hit, and it was like, seriously. So there is like none of that.
Yeah.
So then it's starting all over again. It can be really frustrating for sure.
So I saw someone say something funny online, and they said, hey, if you want some time without your kids, say, kids, I'm going to go take a nap. Wake me up in 20 minutes because we're going to clean the house. They'll leave you alone all afternoon.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Yes, I have actually, you know, with teenagers, I will say it's a little easier for sure. They do their school in the mornings now, and then I sort of let them, I mean, you can only go on so many walks and you can only do, we've already done all our activities, yard work, puzzles, baking. I mean, if we bake anymore, we won't be able to fit into our clothes, and we can't go
Yeah.
buy more. So I'm all about some PS4 video games for my son now. Sure, go for it. Talk to your friends, and some Netflix binging for my daughter. It's like, okay, let's have a quiet afternoon, and I'm going to take a nap and do some knitting.
Yeah, and it's okay. I think we feel like we have to do everything perfectly because we're Americans, so we feel like we need to get it right the first time.
Right.
But this is the first time we're ever doing this kind of crazy pandemic thing. And so I think if you're just sitting at home and having an alone time, out in the garden or snuggling on the couch with your kids and telling schoolwork, we'll be fine. They will be fine. Hear me say this, they're going to be fine.
They will be. And, I have felt the pressure during this time to like savor every moment, fill every moment with like something exciting, a game, a movie, an activity, something together. But we have plenty of time for that. So, we got to stretch it out. And
Yeah.
everybody needs their alone time. So we talk about how, we need alone time, but our children need it as well. They can only spend so much time with us. I mean, let's be honest. How much time did you want to spend with your parents when you were teenagers or, whenever? And littles need you. So it's a little bit different. But, everybody needs a little quiet time apart.
Well, my son, who's 8, he's really independent. He's so funny. We went to visit my dad right before all this went down. And there was a day where somebody was visiting, and that person was just glued to my son's side to the point where at 7 o'clock that night, he was in tears. He's like, Mom, I just need to be alone. So even at 8.
Oh, it's so true. We don't, we are alone and our activity levels are down and we're not doing as much, but it's been an interesting thing to adjust to and to realize that even in all of that, you've got to find that alone time where you're by yourself just for a minute. Even though you're not around and busy and doing as much as we normally are. On the flip side of that, I am really missing and lonely for my friends. Like, Zoom is great, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of sick of Zoom now. Love Zoom, but I mean, I'm ready for real people again. Like, I need to hug people, see people, talk to people, have conversations with people. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that. I'm ready to sit down, at lunch with people. So I am lonely for that social interaction, that face to face human contact again.
Yeah, and I do think we have to remember it takes a toll, even if we're like killing this thing, we're doing a great job, it's not bothering us, right? But deep down inside it is. And so I hear a lot of people saying, I have to sleep so much, I'm so tired, I'm sleeping in.
Yes.
They're stressed.
Yes.
Yeah, and you might not be showing it on the outside, but the inside of you is stressed out. So just, give yourself a break.
I think recognizing it is huge and then figuring out what you need to try to, I always call it like it's exhausting, that emotional, it's that program like in a computer that's running in the background of the computer that's running down the battery, but you're not using the program, you're not playing with it, or you're not in it at the moment, but it's just running down that battery. And that is what I have felt like as well in times when I'm like, I really need to call that person. And I find myself so wanting to reach out, but not even having the energy to have a conversation, which is so unlike me. But I know, and I'm a big sleeper, I'm a big nap taker, but not being able to do that as well either, which is just really bizarre. And so I think just noticing that and then taking, maybe instead of going on a family walk every single night, maybe every other night, you just go on a quiet walk by yourself around the block. You and your husband take turns going by yourselves, or whatever it is that you need just to sort of reset for yourself, because this whole thing is very overwhelming. So there's pros and cons to loneliness.
Yeah, my husband and I spent the whole weekend in the yard, but a lot of it we spent working in the yard, but not right next to each other. So we kind of had our own alone time, but we were working together. So yeah, so whether you feel like I want to be alone or I'm so tired of being alone, I hope you're going to listen to the podcast.
Yes.
Because loneliness is a real thing no matter what stage you are in life. It's different depending on where you are in life. And we all face it differently. We all experience it at different times in our lives.
And I really think that when you listen to the podcast, you're going to realize, wow, I never considered how many different forms of loneliness there actually are. And you may recognize one in yourself that you had not pinpointed before that you could begin to work on during this time. And we offer some solutions and some ways to resolve that as well. And again, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about some topics that you're interested in. We can hardly wait till we're kind of off the corona. I'm sure many of you agree. But it is interesting how God has woven these topics that we had decided on over a month ago. He has woven them perfectly into the timeline of this quarantine and the issues that we have all been facing. And I'm so thankful for that he's always in the details. And so don't forget that he's in the details. And also stay tuned for our girls' night in.
Yeah. All right. We will talk to you guys next week.
Yeah.
Check out the
And I'm
podcast.
going to play our music on the way out. And I am going to play it right now.
Don't forget to listen to the podcast. We'll put the link down in the notes.
Yeah. With the discussion questions, if you want to get together on a Zoom call with friends and discuss the podcast.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for joining us again today. Until next time.